Korea. They gather all the money together. They're like, we're going to get all these guys that have talent, try to put them together in this ragtag group of guys, and try to make something happen.
It's so funny because if you judge the book by the original cover, the first edition of this match is 7th placed LCK versus the 8th out of 8 0-14 challengers team. You're like, that sounds awful.
Yeah.
But then you turn on YouTube stream, see over 30,000 people, and realize it's the LCK current dream team versus, honestly, the ghosts of Christmas past, honestly, on the side of APK Prince. These are guys who've done so much. So it's Christmas future, Christmas past, it's the Christmas spirit, it's the KeSPA Cup. And we're going to open our presents really soon with a pick and ban. And then load straight into some 8.24B League of Legends.
I can't wait for that, too. I know a lot of new viewers are going to be joining us for SKT and for this matchup specifically. But so far, 8.24B has been nothing but a treat. So much aggression, so much action here in the new League of Legends that Riot has put in. We're going to go into some match points for this one. Some of the stuff we've already gone over here, Papa.
Gone and cleared, played in the LSBL. That's what we're shouting out here. And of course, Ursu, that's Ixu, used to be the top laner of the Afrika Freaks and Rebels Anarchy. And Mickey were the solo lanes for a couple of years there. They were together for a long time until 2017. Ixu went to Jinair. Then he got really interested in Bitcoin, had a weird phase in his life. He's back now from the LMS as Ursu, so they are back together. The KeSPA Cup, these orgs have played each other in the past, but this is so different. This is so mouth-watering. No trivia page can encapsulate what we're seeing, even if we're just talking one-team storylines, whether it is APK Prince or SKT. It's Mata and Faker playing on the same damn lineup. I almost want to jump up and clap and say, wow, we're getting something that no one could have expected, given they've been foes for 5 years of competitive play.
I mean, you talk about jumping up and clapping. I feel like a lot of League of Legends fans have already done that when they saw the roster lineup come out. They're like, what? Faker and Mata on the same lineup? Really? Everybody's getting super excited. And now it all comes to a point. It's not LCK, but it's the first time that they're going to be playing all together here at the KeSPA Cup. And that's just going to be the biggest treat of all. I mean, it's just they call it the Dream Team for a reason. Basically, every single position on the team is filled by someone who could be a top 10 player in that position, maybe even top 5 player for that position in the LCK. It's unbelievable.
They have bench players that might be top 5 in role. Not since Easy Hoon on SKT in 2015, a fairly thin mid lane champion pool, has that really been out there. This is some really intriguing stuff, and they've got a coach who's known for his drafting. Feels like Koma's kind of stepped away from doing the actual pick bans. They're going to feel very confident with Zephyr behind them. Zephyr seemed phased out by the time Afrika got to World, so Comet in the booth a lot more. Now it seems like Zephyr has the true responsibilities. Fly and Koma going to be watching from the back. Even some great subs as well, with plenty to say. We just need to load into it. We need to know what's happening.
We just need to do it.
We need to see more of it. Cacao, he's sitting there. He knows that the pressure is off, and yet, what if they engineered the downfall of the Dream Team?
That's really the question here, especially for Cacao himself. Not the greatest showing on Jinair on the last time here in summer of LCK. Wants to remake his name on a totally new team. And guys, as I should mention on the bottom, Nico global ban. There are a couple of bugs that are just too much. Particularly her profile shows her as alive after she dies, which is the biggest one.
That seems
you don't
like
want
a
that to happen.
one.
Right, her items can be messed up when she clones somebody as well. So she is going to be global banned for now. We don't know how long that's going to be, but we saw a lot of Nico picks, so it definitely will have a big part of this pick ban.
And again, guys, 824B, as you can see in the bottom middle center of this screen. So it is the live patch that you're all playing on, excluding Nico. Again, power pick Nico, but not necessarily Nico with a high win rate. So the Nico, it's frustrating not to see her, but every other variable is in. One variable that's not allowed is Faker's LeBlanc. He doesn't play it much, doesn't get targeted banned too much, but in solo queue, there's been a big re-emergence in the LeBlanc. So I imagine it's a coverage for one of Mickey's champions, but also a bit of a nod to Faker, the old genius on that LeBlanc.
Yeah, another champion that I would expect to see banned out here is the Cassiopeia. I mean, just across the board, it's not like it's a profit moment to really call her to be banned out here, because we saw it a couple of times and it just dominates any lane, especially the way she can be flexed to the bottom side. We're not going to see her for a while.
And let's single out someone on APK when we talk about the Cassiopeia. Fury, who of course was on Samsung Galaxy and Longzhu, went over to China, looked very good just very competitive on a Suning gaining lineup that was always kind of around the playoffs and things like that. This guy loves bot lane carries. He was playing a lot of AP Cannon bot, for example, the only person who was really messing with that, and he was also happy to play the other awesome dudes, as we called it in Korea, those non-marksmen in the bot lane. So the KeSPA bot was a very real possibility. That's been banned away. Faker's Galio. We've seen so much Galio. People look at matchups and say, why are we being denied a skilled matchup with a Galio? Not going to happen in this game number 1. The Lucian ban does mean things like Aurelia, Akali are open. We see Ezreal power picked at times. There's a lot of things open for the first pick here. The Lee Sin for Clid also going to be one to consider, even though Lee Sin priority has been a bit lower. APK with their first pick. Will it be a tier list thing? Will it be a comfort thing? We're waiting to see how APK want to approach this draft, taking a very long time. Thresh has been first picked a lot as well, and over the Thresh this time, it will be that Aurelia, so the Flex Assassin meta that we remember from Worlds is going to continue.
Yeah, I mean, other stuff that you have to throw in there. We saw a lot of fantastic Alistar play, even in the first matchup that we did see tonight. You think about Mata, you think about any support, really. Even Secret from time to time on Kongbu Monster showed some decent games, and Acclivity trying to play that Alistar. Let's take a look at what SKT do want to go and pick, though. There's the Lee Sin.
And this is the introduction for the guy who needs the most introduction, because Clid is someone who will be overlooked when it comes to how hyped am I? Because everyone, when they hear Mata on SKT, they know Mata. They love Mata. They know what to expect. Clid is this guy who's a Korean player who made his name outside of Korea. Even the Korean fans have only heard about Clid. They haven't necessarily watched the LPL super close. This guy is a prodigious Lee Sin talent. If you think about Lee Sin one-tricks of the past, I'm not to say that Clid is a one-trick, but his Lee Sin is on that level. You think of Flawless, for example, had Lee Sin, but not much else. This guy's Lee Sin may be his best champion, but he has a whole lot behind it, and his Lee Sin is arguably better than Flawless's. So we're going to see some sick Lee Sin play and a lot of pick CC already, with the Lissandra joining as a duo.
Yeah, Lissandra definitely high up there on the tier list right now, especially with the change to her passive where the enemies can explode after being killed. Gives her a lot more burst damage to the kit that already has a ton of burst damage. So it'll be interesting to see who does pick up that Lissandra. We all know that Faker and Khan definitely going to be able to pick that one up. Let's go ahead and take a look at what APK want to take. We were talking about the Alistar that's grabbed up here for Secret, and another aggressive jungler. It's all about aggression here, Papa. It's Xin Zhao.
We got 5 picked champions and 5 champions picked. So even though that sounds confusing, it just means everybody's ready for some fighting on the rift between the first 5 picks. Again, SKT, who ostensibly have mid and jungle. Again, the Lissandra could be flexed to top, but we're thinking mid and jungle. Another pick champion and someone who can feast on squishies would be the Pyke. But it'd be kind of weird to show Pyke priority this early in the draft. So it's going to be the fallback Ezreal. Is that you, Bang? You wonder as you see SKT locking in Ezreal. If you guys are just joining us for the KeSPA Cup, you might say, okay, Ezreal was changed since Worlds, of course. The patch much earlier, 820, is when the new Ezreal came through. Had to be buffed a lot, and solo queue. It felt weak. We've definitely felt Ezreal in this tournament being super, super strong. I'm already going so far as to say words like overpowered, because, you know, I have that power. I can just say things. Can't stop me, Riot Games. It's not even a Riot Games event. Say whatever I want. Ezreal is super, super highly tuned, whether you go for a double tier build or go for a conventional build, and it has the safety to get away from the pick CC that was already there in swaths from the side of APK.
Yeah, it's just one of the top level AD carries. Definitely number 2 behind the Lucian. Lucian is just one of those picks that has so much lane priority and dominance that you're going to win the bot lane if you have a Lucian. Doesn't matter what the supports are. So that's why you see Lucian banned and then Ezreal picked up as the first AD carry. Definitely we'll be seeing a lot more of that as we go along. Notice the Tahm Kench ban. We've been seeing a ton more of Ezreal Tahm Kench to get away from all that aggression you were talking about. Tahm Kench just makes it even easier to avoid all that.
Fury actually eating a Kai'Sa ban in this particular scenario. I'd love to see Fury again go to one of those tendencies, try to push the Ezreal stuff in, just try to really actually attack him in terms of priority in the lane. Maybe even a Caitlyn could be considered here just to get the push on, because otherwise I think the scaling approach would have been wrong, so I wouldn't have liked to see Fury on the Kai'Sa here, but with the hard CC you would have understood Kai'Sa to try to swoop in and get some teamfight kills. Rounding out the solo lanes, we have the Urgot here. Could potentially be flex, but we're feeling like mid lane Lissandra and top lane Urgot is the way, so definitely no new meta stuff on the side of SKT just yet. APK Prince, fresh off 3-0ing their opponents, VSG, and making it back to challengers. They are going to go for a bot lane carry, looks like. If they do go for the Swain, that's another favorite of Fury's if it was to come through. They lock in the Scion. We think we know the solo lanes. I guess a chance of Irelia going bot side. They are very low on magic damage. The Swain or the Kennen could be considered.
Definitely does feel that way. I look at the players and I see them smiling and all that stuff. When you hover stuff like Swain, there it is. Papa, you called it. The Kennen making its way through.
Bot lane
alongside
Kennen
Alistair.
wants to start diving in. And right now, if you can avoid some of those pick CCs, maybe Lissandra's ult on cooldown, who's to say AP bot lane Kennen can't make things happen? Don't be confused. Don't think it's going to be Reckless Start. I think it's going to be AP Kennen in the bot lane. We're last picking Marta's champion. So we wondered who would be wearing the captain's hat, and while we don't know it entirely from a last pick, Marta's going to feel pretty good about getting to wait, and now locking in his support. Extra initiation from a long range on the final pick here. Ezreal Rakan versus AP Kennen and the Alistair. This is already a treat in the champ set. And look, the game might just fall apart at 8 minutes. It could be a snowball one way or the other, but we get to sit here, and I hold your shoulder, picking up to the meta of just looking for that first Baron and closing the game. We'll talk more and more about what the meta has shown us, but there's a lot to like on both the SKT and the APK Prince side.
Yeah, and a lot more to talk about in terms of all of those matchups that we do have on the Rift. This is going to be the final showing here. Cannot wait to see Kakao versus Klid in the jungle. That's kind of my hype matchup. You also look at Mickey and Faker in the mid lane, of course, returning back to the mid lane. This time it is the Lissandra counter pick into the Irelia. Will be interesting to see how Mickey does deal with that matchup. And Mata, known as the brains. Faker said it himself. He's going to be kind of the quarterback for this one on the Rakan. No doubt he's going to be the one first into the fight and last one out.
I just love that both sides have a lot of merit about their pick ban. The APK Prince pick ban, when you slide in the AP Kennen, actually really comes together. 3 teleports to be very maneuverable on the map. Scion goes in, Kennen from a flank, Alistair coming in. If you get on top of Ezreal, the sieging won't matter. You'll get a kill, and they can flank from so many different directions. Everyone can flank on the side. You don't see that with a 5-man roster much. Ready to get into it, but we got a coach's interview, I think, before we get the action.
Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and get this translated for you guys with the coach from SKT. There are tons of fans that are looking forward to this matchup. After the transfer period and the whole new roster, the shiny Dream Team roster. This is the first official match with the new roster. How do you feel? I know there's so many people expecting so much from us, so we feel a lot of pressure, to be honest. So because of those expectations, we want to live up to those expectations that we are, in fact, a dream team. So Faker, Khan, and Teddy all kind of have a strong personality, so it seems like you guys brought in Mata to create the balance on that lineup. Seems like you guys put in a lot of effort to make them get close even outside of the game.
마타 선수 귀는 괜찮은 거군요, 그럼 아직.
예, 괜찮습니다.
네. 자, 그리고 공식 훈련을 시작한 지 아직 얼마 되지 않았다고
So
들었습니다.
we train a lot, we're training until we bleed basically, and we're trying to just create balance between all the different players.
연습할 수 있다는 것 등의 장점이 좀 있을 것 같거든요.
Started training since the 11th, but because you have 10 players, you can have a ton of scrims in-house.
자, 1세트 뱀픽은
So, of course, because we have 10 players, 10-man roster, we can create more strategies and practice a lot more within the team.
제 생각엔 나쁘지 않은 것 같아요. 선수들이 잘만 하면 잘.
Are you satisfied with the pick and ban?
자, 1세트 경기를 앞두고
He says, yeah, I think so far it doesn't look so bad.
네, 감사합니다.
And as long as the players play their champions well, I think we can show a great game with what we have brought to the table. So, good to hear, Zepha, and I just can't wait to get into the game, Papa.
It's going to be awesome. It's going to be a really fun one, regardless of result. The drafts, especially when we're thinking forward to 20-25 minutes at an even game, both have merits, and that's already a good sign. There's some competition there. We'll flesh it out. We'll get the laning matchups in our heads a bit clearer when we load in at level 1. But just give us that level 1, please, Afrika and KeSPA. Let's go on this KeSPA Cup debut of SK Telecom T1's 2019 roster. I hear good things from our producer. I think we're almost there.
Yeah, looks like we're ready to go, guys. The game is loading up. SKT SKT for the first time with the new roster up against APK Prince's new roster. Let's hop onto the Rift for game number 1.
No crowd chants just yet, but in your heads you can hear the SKT faithful already warming up their new charges. First professional game we'll see SKT T1's 2019 lineup, and also APK Princes that should be playing in Challengers Korea 2019. Iksu, now Ursu on a tank versus Khan in the top lane. Fury's AP Kennen, gonna be having a fun time. But I'll say Electrocute is the choice of Keystone there. I wonder what this choice is of Hunter, you know, of the stacking rune there. I would imagine movement speed just to get the more reliable flank as the game goes on, but we'll have to wait and see after the game, perhaps, to get all the full information there. And Klid's Lee Sin. Again, Klid, the most unheralded of players because he comes from the LPL on a team that didn't qualify for Worlds in JD Gaming. But Klid's Lee Sin is God tier. Already saying it, I am not going to be worried about Humble Pie. This guy is an awesome Lee Sin. And Lee Sin and Lissandra post level 6 is just hell on earth to pay for one person when it comes to pick CC.
That's essentially the name of the game for you guys who are just joining us. You know, you weren't sure the KeSPA Cup was on, but you heard that SKT was playing with their new roster, so you're joining us for this. You're not sure exactly what the pro games have been looking like here on the new patch of 8.24b. Well, we already kind of foreshadowed it, but there's going to be a lot of aggression. Basically, the team wants to get in there and get picks around Baron, and the team that can do that the best for the first Baron is going to get off to a massive start and try to use that aggression to win the game.
Definitely less thick boys on the Rift. A lot more people have been working out in the off time and do big damage, but it's really a lot about, like you said, getting a pick and then turning that into an objective like the Baron. It's very easy to close games out with the Baron in general. With a gold lead at 20 minutes, your agency is so much more than before because minions are tankier, do more damage, move faster. The game in general has been sped up. We're playing on 1.2 times speed. If you're a college student, you're watching these lectures at 2 times speed and just being able to pick up where you can. There isn't really a lot of scope for mistakes post 15 minutes that aren't not necessarily game ending, but game impacting to a fault. So given all of that, the game is really about having big picked CC, getting kills around 18 minutes, and either getting a Baron or setting up for one, because that really does turn the game.
Look at Kakao's aggression.
2 scuttles already.
Yeah, red to double scuttle. Then he's challenging in the jungle. He hit level 3, trying to get on top of that. Lee Sin threatens towards the mid lane. He's trying to make that happen. Unfortunately, Mickey not able to take the best of trades. His Faker going to get the better of that one.
Again, is your comp strong 15 to 25? I think both teams have a lot to like about that. It's very much less about who wins the late game team fights and really who is able to get things going. Pre-1 item, 1 item, and 2 item. It used to be kind of who wins at 2 items was the early game question. Now it's before 1, 1, and 2. That is exactly the breakdown of understanding how things go. Just watching the AP Cannon, which in the early levels, without a lot of points in his W, can have some issues even against Ezreal for being able to control the wave very much, but around level 5 things get better, of course, and the all-in options. I was like, speaking of all-in, nice trades coming through from Mickey.
You notice how both of them going for a corrupting pot here in the mid lane. Pretty standard, but it just means a ton of trading is going to come in. Early on, it didn't look good for Mickey, but then a couple of stuns later, and you can already see, especially early game, even though he does rock the Aftershock Faker on the Lissandra, might have some trouble from time to time.
But now at least Kakao, as we notice, walking through the mid lane at level 1, controls scuttles and just wants to continue to control things to get the stun again.
Oh, his E is down. He has to flash away, does Faker. At least he has the Aftershock, but now he doesn't have flash. We know where Kakao's going to set his sights on the next time he wants to go for a gank.
Thing about Xin and matchups us back in the mid lane again.
There's the Ignite. He flashes forward for the auto. Is it enough? Yes, but the first blood will go to Klid on the Lee Sin. Good positioning from him.
SKT T1 as a team get the first blood, but it does not go to the mid lane as a Faker doesn't win out in that case. It's more so on the side of Mickey. Gets a huge first blood. Look at that Merc Treads already purchased. Gonna have to walk back to lane, doesn't have the TP. But this ends up being just trademark Mickey aggression. You cannot take the aggression out of Mickey, whatever league he's in, coming back from NA on Golden Guardians and onto this APK Prince lineup. He's still playing for the lane, he's still playing for the kills. The famous interview where after he was taken down the first time, the interviewer said, okay, Faker, what do you think of Mickey? He said, well, he's all right, but he should practice some more, you know, if his team is going to win.
Yeah.
Rika won the next one, so hold that thought.
Speaking of aggression, APK, they're taking it to heart, and I think they went a bit too far this time around Ignite. and the rest of it. Teddy able to pick up the first kill in the bottom lane for Ezreal.
Well, we know what the team talk was for APK. It's YOLO. Let's go in there. Let's make them pay. And it's working in some cases, not working in other cases. That one a little bit too brazen. A level 4 AP cannon all-in is quite different to the level 6. So unsure about that one. Watch the replay to understand it. The Demolish prop could have been used. They don't even use Demolish. They're much more in a flash about Pulverize, but Teddy on the board, flashes away, they turn on it, and they're able to pick up the kill. Nicely executed by the new look SKT bot lane.
Yeah, maybe a slower AD carry who is not as mechanically skilled might not have flashed away from that one. He gets knocked up, and then the cannon can do his burst damage and kill the Ezreal before they can turn it around. But Teddy's flash, you mentioned it, it was right on time, and that's part of the reason why that crazy dive did not pay off.
Before there's another skirmish, let's again just finish the history lesson on Mickey versus Faker, because it is a really fun matchup. Again, after losing to Faker, the next time out, the Freaky Freaks actually beat SKT, and Faker had a big, Mickey had a really big performance, and he gave a famous interview that Koreans are still quoting to this day of, well, maybe Faker now should practice more. That got him a whole lot of flack. A lot of SKT fans, understandably, didn't like that level of trash talk to Faker, so they have a really spirited history, and that's why every time there could be a solo kill, Mickey's going all in.
That he is. Will he look for it this time is the question. Now we have Klid in position. Do they have enough damage to take him out? A couple more autos will do it, and there it is. Faker able to pick it up. 2 supports in the mid lane now. They want to turn this around on a Faker. There's the TP. He's looking actually for Klid. He's not going to stop there. But he is going to have that stun interrupted. Klid will get away, but immediately APK able to turn that one around.
And SKT with the next level. They knew Mickey would look for the all-in, just like we did, Valis. The casters know it, players certainly know it, and they're there for the counter, get their first kill. However, the TP is great. The minion wave is pushed in, so there's very little opportunity cost for Ixu, or now Ursu, to teleport to mid lane and make that play. They get the flash away from Klid to remove some of the more creative playmaking with the kick. Ends up being pretty even, all things considered, as we keep rolling along in what's been a fun first 7 minutes.
Well, this has been exactly what we expected from this kind of matchup, especially with the players that these two teams do have on their lineups, and after the pick and ban, the aggressive picks that they have brought to the Rift so far. With the players that these two teams we do have to take a step back and see, how are these teams playing? Have they come and met our expectations so far? I really like actually the vision control by SKT. They have 4 control wards across the Rift right now. More defensive style from APK, but definitely liking the kind of spread that SKT's got going on so far.
And we talked meta about expectations, but not micro, which is how the game should play out. Maybe we'll get a chance to, depending on if Mata and Faker went for this pincer play. But back to the question of, so who does win pre-1 item? You love Kakao over the Lee Sin. You definitely take Xin Zhao in that matchup, and Kao's agency has allowed them to do a lot of play. You like the Aurelio who can skate around, consider an all-in, fish for the stun, and if she hits it, go in. If not, no. And given that, APK needed to be playing this active style in the early game, and I think they've been good about it. Much better than expected, of course, in a challengers versus potential dream team matchup here. So given that agency, we're looking for APK to get a lead. They haven't done that. They're behind in gold, but overall, it's been the right style of play, whereas SKT waiting for a bit of scaling, waiting for a few items.
Mata just hitting level 6 there. There's a forward ward that might spot Lee Sin. There it is, and you can see immediately that Lightning Rush kind of gives it away.
Yeah, actually, if they had not used Lightning Rush there, they could have baited for longer. Mata's still playing around. He's not 100% clear if it's revealed, but at this point, they know that with this much respect being shown by the cannon, the lane spacing gives away, in addition to Fury's very early Lightning Rush, that they have that ward.
I just feel like overall, everybody was expecting so much from the dream team of SKT, but even APK have been playing a very high-level game so far. Overall, everybody was expecting so much from the dream team of SKT, but even APK have been playing a very high-level game so far.
Overall, their ultimates available. They don't have to use defensive around mid lane. This is where I think the pendulum does swing a bit to SKT. With their ults, with 1 item coming soon, they actually have quite a lot of power. No longer can Xin Zhao just walk around and do whatever he wants. He has to respect the Sandra and Lee Sin ultimates. Speaking of Lee Sin, while he wasn't able to get that play successfully gank off in the bot side, he gets a free Ocean Drake, and Urgot and Lissandra, even the Ezreal, going to be really happy with the laning stats that provides, with no turret checkpoints barring just a single one in the bot lane to speak of.
Lightning Rush used here by Fury. Seems like they have a good idea the gank is coming, but even if the gank doesn't get any kills, they're going to get 2 checkpoints on the bottom side turret, which means just some more extra gold for Mata and Teddy in the bottom side. But look at the response from APK. The Rift Herald just spawned at 10 minutes. They're already starting it.
And that interaction of turret plating going down at 14 and a charge from the Rift Herald getting you just 320 AoE gold means that we've seen Valdez consistently 10 to 12 minutes a Rift Herald contest. SKT's vision wasn't there. It will be soon. Can they contest this one? There are no more reveals here, and the smite goes in, but they haven't picked up the buff just yet.
Seems like they're going to play a little bit of a defense here. Clid not trying to jump over the wall and go for the steal. How much time
are SKT going to wait for this? We're going to get the full zoom out here. Thank you to their freaking TV observers. They're going to get the first rotation. Like you say, KeSPA could suicide for this.
He does have his ultimate. Looks like he can try to jump onto Clid. There's the Lysandra ultimate. They're trying to burst him down, but Clid's actually the first one to go down, and the knockup goes on to Xinjiao finally. They still stop it, but it looks like, can they pick it up now? Yes, they can. So 1-for-1 in the end, but APK get the better of it.
One death for the Rift Herald is the new meta, is what we see more often than not. You have to contest it because of how powerful the buff is, but if you don't dot your I's, cross your T's, get your deep vision, and the Rift Herald dies randomly to a couple of champions because you didn't set up, then it's not going to be worth it, Valdez. If you can get the charge off, it's probably worth it here. Could they have disengaged is the question you can ask. Is there any way that the Xinjiao can live? You watch the replay, the answer is no. It could not have happened there. So it ended up being the death. It ended up being acceptable losses. They were waiting for Secret to counter roam and to follow the Rakan, and they do pick it up all us. So we don't know if it's quite a 50-50 just yet. It really depends on the use of that buff.
Loved the drifting from Ursu in the top side, by the way. That's part of the reason why the Lee Sin was, he kind of went in and he wasn't able to do much because he was stunned the entire time. It was like a homing missile right onto Clid. And, you know, we weren't sure what to expect from the APK side, but already some good stuff coming in there. We'll see where they do want to use that Rift Herald. They would love to use it before 14 minutes. Sometimes teams get it off, but generally only if a big gank happens first. Sometimes they'll just go for the macro objective of the first blood turret instead.
And I didn't think that going the Iceborne Gauntlet was a sometimes item build for Sion versus Urgot, but notice the Frozen Heart has been opted into here. We just had a data point and we remembered the Shy at Worlds. The Iceborne Gauntlet Sion kind of wins this matchup against the Urgot, but he's gone Frozen Heart for the team. He's the team with the Irelia, so it's not like it's shutting down the enemy mid laner. Surprising to see that, but definitely reminiscent of old Ixu builds on a Freak of Freaks. Would always be a tank-first player. It will hurt the trades against the Urgot. Will that be a monumental thing? We'll find out later.
Well, bottom side, Teddy and Mata getting ganked right now. You would expect them to be winning this one. Rakan and Ezreal going to be able to outpoke the Alistar in particular. They can't find an opportunity to engage early, as we saw. The early engage also did not work, so they're definitely owning that bottom lane so far. KeSPA trying to get down there, but not able to make the gank work.
Honestly, AP Kennen and Alistar bot lane is kind of a safe version of the Yasuo Alistar mid lane, as in the mid lane Faker will be able to get away. Alistar Yasuo is, are they going to all in or not? And if they're not, then they're losing the lane really hard. With a ranged auto attacker, you lose it a little bit less as the Kennen, but you can't just lightning rush in and W the minions like you can topside because the enemy's support and the Ezreal from 1,000 range pokes you down. So going 8 CS down is fine for the AP Kennen. We're still waiting to know about the Rift Herald usage, though, to know if it's fine that this first 13 minutes has yielded SKT a kill over APK.
Cool thing that Faker did as KeSPA was coming in for the gank is he didn't back off as the Lysandra when he saw him go over the control ward, and he's like, I know KeSPA's coming here. Baited him to go for the gank and just got away with his E because he knew it was coming. He wasn't going to get knocked up or stunned or anything like that. So he's baited KeSPA to hang around the mid lane for quite a while. He's still hanging there in the brush.
Anytime you waste of a Xinjiao in the early game, the Lee Sin says thank you very much and gets more time to plan out his next kick. This is very much the skirmishing or priority advantage for the Xinjiaos. Back in the mid lane again.
This time he does get stunned, but the E duration, it's quite a long time, is able to get out of there once again.
Rift Herald must be on the dregs of its cooldown. We can see on the bar here, it's about, what, 25 seconds maximum, probably less than that. Demolish proc in the mid lane. Seems like we're setting up for something, but it's not setting up for the first turret blood. That goes the way of SKT against the Rift Herald being picked up by APK.
Yeah, I mean, you take a look and step back at all the lanes here so far. Faker had kind of a rough early game, but he's still in parity here with the Aurelia. This is going to alter.
Interrupts it.
Oh, okay.
That's what happened there. He had the trinket ward, and Mickey was a bit lazy about using it. Goes and gets interrupted. That is not the outplay that Mickey was hoping for there, but that's the interaction, and it denies a charge. And now it lets us know we can zoom back, we can rewind and say, no, it was not worth it to die for the Rift Herald.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, too, I feel like he shouldn't be just doing that by himself. I think the team has to come together, get communication. Okay, which lane are we going to use this in? Support me in the mid lane. I'm going to use it. But he was all alone. Xin Zhao was back in the base. So Faker trying to get away here. He will, once again, showing why Lissandra is really strong into any kind of aggressive mid laner plus aggressive jungle combination.
Faker, we already talked about buying the time, baiting the enemy jungler, now interrupting, has done a lot of team things there without getting a quadra kill or YouTube highlights. Good stuff from him. Of course, one that's going to be looked to be the reliable mid laner with so many new people coming in. There's still a big involvement in the shot calling. So be answering Ocean Drake here, not to be talked about. His interrupt on the back.
Oh boy, Mickey on a ward here. He is going to be knocked up by Mata as well. Do they have the damage? Gonna miss that Q, but the final auto attack is able to take him out 3-on-1. Down will go the Aurelia.
What a great team move. Notice the ward's been there for a while. That was not an ultimate from the Ezreal to try to steal away the Drake. It was to get the kill while baiting the recall to be channeled by Mickey. That is a team play that SKT fans out there will be chomping at the bit, because any team play you can see weeks into preparation rather than months into preparation bodes very well for the 2019 season. Again, back timing is there, interrupted, and it's a team move here. This is smooth from the new SKT line.
It's super smooth, and you have to think, where does this communication come from? I think it's from Mata. You know, he was the one right behind Faker. He's calling for it. He might have been the one that put down the ward. Maybe he told Faker to put that ward there. Maybe it was just Faker, but either way, they just lined that up so well, and it's like that 1-2 combination. Hey, we're going to go for this kill. Teddy, you're down their bot lane. Put that through, and it's just super smooth and great stuff to see from SKT.
And let's zoom out a little bit and talk about just a bit of bookkeeping. It's actually a change this year, because last year, if you remember, Faker was the eldest player on the SKT lineup, and on a simple level when it comes to any Korean hierarchy, but teams and companies, it's very important that you listen to your elders. Very important. Very often the oldest player on the team will shot call. Mata's actually older than Faker, and again, that's a big change in dynamic. Does that mean that Mata's a primary shot call and Faker says nothing? Almost certainly not. He still has a very strong opinion, as we know. But what it means on a grander level is there's definitely going to be another voice there. Mata has been vocal on every team he's ever been on. And if that means that overall the players are better than not, there's definitely going to be at least an inkling to give Mata partial credit.
100%. I mean, he was the quarterback, as I said. He was just right behind Faker, kind of the linebacker, getting in there as Lissandra. And Cacau's here in the mid lane again. I feel like SKT and Faker and Clid, they've kind of read this very well. They're like, okay, this guy's just going to non-stop gank a Lissandra that has armor, a proto belt, and is Lissandra.
With Aftershock.
With Aftershock. So, I mean, we can just sit here and try to collect free kills. Not 100% sure why they've spent so much time trying to kill Faker. I know that allure is always there to try to shut down the unkillable Demon King, as he's known as, but sometimes it's just not the right idea.
In the early game, when they're getting double scuttles and they have a huge skirmishing advantage, love it. Pre-6, love it. But as we talked about, the game is so nuanced now. Pre-6 to post-6, 1 item, 2 item, they're all breakpoints. They all evolve. They're all things we have to talk about with how front-loaded the game is decided often, and feels like APK were ahead of the curve, then behind it about 5 minutes later. Like you say, no advantage gain. In fact, a CS disadvantage for the mid lane in spite of the jungle proximity. And now Cacau's on a walk all alone.
I mean, there's even a TP coming into this one, but who's flanking who here as Ursu making his way into the jungle? Could go for a Scion move. It looks like SKT just going to totally disengage. But now Khan kind of in an awkward spot all alone. 4 or 5 members of APK on the run, but they catch one in the backside. This might be a trade 1-for-1. Ursu's going to get the kill on the top side on Khan, but Mickey will also go down in the 1-for-1 trade.
But that's the amazing thing about the new TPs, Valdez. If you channel them, you're going for them, and people very quickly found themselves out of position. I really like to think about, I was thinking, how do you explain how many years did we have of teleports being channeled and mid laners taking TP just to dissuade turret guys because you could cancel them and the enemy had to factor it in. Scion comes in. It's going to be disengaged by Teddy. I think about the new TPs. It's kind of like that really kind of frenetic moment when you're considering messaging your crush, right? You're saying that first message to your crush and you're writing out a message and then you cancel it. You cancel the message a couple of times. You're going to send the perfect message, right? Yeah. You got to. It's your crush. You can't do that anymore. You're sending your first message in this meta. No canceled TPs, no canceled messages. Sometimes it goes great. Sometimes, well, you've only got yourself to blame.
Yeah, I mean, it's like meeting in person, you know? You're not talking over texts anymore. You're talking on the phone. You say something, you can't take it back.
The phone is scary about it.
You can't take it back, right? It's going to happen regardless of if you want to take it back. Everybody heard it.
There's going to be so many more TPs, and thus more TPs are going to be great, and more TPs, as Kobe said, are going to suck. And that is the best part about it. I actually love that change. I would never have thought of it, but now, even as a play-by-play, you know the big moment's coming because there ain't no canceling.
It's so funny, too, when teams have a TP advantage, it's like, who's going to commit harder? Because once you commit, you can't go back, as we're saying. So we saw that in the previous game from Damwon Gaming. They had 2 TPs against only 1. They committed 100%. And, well, they were able to just get in there a lot sooner because the other guy, the 1 TPer, channeled it first, so he wasn't able to get away from that, and they knew they had him cornered. Now they're going for Secret here, who is an Alistair, is very tanky, but there's nobody else around to help him here. Mickey's nearby, but he is eventually going to go down as Clid will secure that kill.
We're seeing, of course, the ghosts after the kills come through and just do nothing, right? When you get a single target, the Sandra passive doesn't really do much. The slow-walking Alistair that explodes. And you might think, that passive's not that good. Used to have mana regen as some items starting to be completed in SKT. They are lying away. There's some Jaws.
Faker has a Magi's already.
He heard from Showmaker, and he knows what's going on here.
I was pointing at that, like, in disbelief. He's actually just going for, speaking of which, there's Mata, decides against it. He's going to at least zone out the APK, and I suppose that's something at this point.
It's action, it's aggression, it's what SKT fans want from this roster and what we think needs to happen. Here we go.
About it. Clid getting super low. In goes Mickey, and out he goes as well. The ult's going to be late. Ezreal damage is huge from the backside, but nobody's...
Oh!
Faker, the 5-man knockup! He's going to stun everybody.
Around.
Here comes Fury, but he's not able to do enough damage. Faker's back, ladies and gentlemen, and he's back to stay. Stuns 5 of them. Only kills 1, but man, that was a cool play.
We were half a second away from a pentakill one way or the other. Even the cannon with a bit more health could have done so much work. They're going to get the turret, they're going to back away. The Jaws theme was playing. The result was not as one-sided. And we almost had a demonstration of what the Sandra passive can provide. Because Valdez, if you get in and get a double kill, those spirits are going to be around all the other CC targets and explode for further burst damage. It makes your combo have further burst if you get the first kill. They don't quite get the explosions, though. But the moment that Faker did this, come on, it's a 5-man W.
And he catches all 5 men in his ultimate as well, which makes it even better. He's able to stopwatch the stun. Will he go down, though? They want that Magi's. Here's Mata, though. The stun comes in. I really am desperately trying to kill him, but he's still got his ultimate back. Here's Teddy, but now the Alistair coming in. Oh, he goes the opposite way. He's able to get away from that aggression, and Ezreal Teddy nearly takes out Kakao. He's still on the chase. Here's Clid going for another kill. Down he goes. SKT looking for more kills. Secret, the only one left available. No flash on him. Even the TP just in case. Faker, he might be looking for more.
He is.
Fury's in here. Can he actually get it? He doesn't have his ultimate. He's going to have that stun at least. And in goes Khan. He's just going to tank the turret, and down he will go to Khan. That's going to be nearly an ace. Only Ursu lives.
The Fear Beyond Death is not just the Urgot ult name. It's also what this SKT lineup is trying to put out there. Kakao is trying to box with Shadows, trying to change that calendar date from 2018 to 2014 and shut down SKT again. But he's been second best around mid lane and second best around Faker, the only returning member of those SKT lineups. And around that, good things are happening for SKT. We're going to watch the replay of how this all started, because off screen, this is Mickey and Faker getting into it. This is the personal beef between the two being recreated, and Kakao says 2014, baby, I deal with SKT every day. But this new SKT, looking for a flying V, looking to vindicate that Dream Team status. They back it up, and no first kill comes in on Faker.
I mean, it's just incredible. Faker, it's kind of funny that he gets caught in the shop, too. That's so typical Faker nowadays. Gets caught in the shot, but he survives and kind of baits everybody into the end of this fight. They end up getting 4 kills on top of everything, and all of their mechanics are so good too. This new SKT lineup is so clean and crisp. Motto with the knockup to buy him time. Teddy right there, doesn't miss anything. Even hits his ult onto the one guy that it mattered. And it's just, it looks so nice.
And SKT are playing to earn a nickname. They are playing to live up to the hype. They don't want it to be theoretical. We had a hype test, a myth bust in our first series. How should we feel about Dumb One Gaming? It ended up about a 7.5 out of 10 on the hype levels. SKT know that 8.5 is the minimum, and they're shooting for more. The game is now going to lead to the inhibitor being broken. Will it be Dream Team, Ultra Team, Super Team, KT style? No one knows. Maybe it'll be decided after a few more cool moves from Faker and friends.
Faker playing with his food now, looking for the flank on a Scion. Just Faker things. They're going to be pushing both of these lanes now, as that's a lot of Ezreal damage on the backside. They're going to get the one mid inhibitor here. Look to funnel all 5 members of APK down onto this left side. New Ezreal, by the way, just chunks turret. Secret, that's not where you want to be. See you later. In goes Faker. He's trying to take out Cacao too, but if he goes Fear Beyond Death, that's going to be 2 members down at SKT. They're looking for their victory.
Smorgasbord of action, but sadly no 30 minutes plus. This one's going to end here. SKT going to put APK in the ground for game number 1, and Faker trying to keep up the playmaking.
Just looking for more. Maybe this is Fury's moment to shine. Nope, not going to be it. They take him out too. They're playing with their food now. They want to kill Mickey specifically. Oh, Teddy nearly gets him on the backside.
We're styling this SKT. They want more.
We really are, but that's going to do it. Game number 1 is going to go the way of SKT. 15-4 in kills and 26.5 minutes. Make it a quick victory.
26.5 minutes of Christmas greatness. That was in the festive season. It was given in every way. The mechanics, the storylines, the now, the then. Everything coalesces in an awesome debut for SKT T1's 2019 lineup. And yet, it's not time for celebration either in this series, a best of 3, or for this roster that is shooting for the top. KT Roasters lineup, they came in to win Worlds, could only come away with 2 years, 1 LCK title. SKT is going to be just as aggressive, maybe even more so, Valdez. I think APK Prince had a really fun game. I like their draft, I like their early game, but the game kind of moved past them, as sadly you could say has kind of been the story of the career of some of these players who don't find themselves in LCK 2019, that do find themselves as the asterisk on the side of what is supposed to be a big debut for the side of SKT, and yet it was competitive, it was fun, it was everything I wanted.
Well, that was game number 1, guys. We do play...